Story 1. The Witch and the Woodcutter. Bjorn pushed Godfrey to his limit. The forest thundered with the heavy drum of the draft horse's hooves. Bjorn and Morrigan rode pillion, much to Bjorn's guilt. "I'm sorry, old friend," Bjorn silently said to Godfrey's neck. "I swear I'll shower you in apples when next we have the chance." Each day, the mountainous wall grew closer and closer, and each day the temperature dropped lower and lower, winter nipping at their heels. Every shadow made them jump. Every twig snapping in the night became a squad of holy guardsmen closing in around them. They stuck to thin dirt tracks and animal paths as they journeyed east. Civilization disappeared from view until the 5th day after their escape. "What's that?" Morrigan whispered as they rode Godfrey out of a dense crop of trees and into a grassy glade. At the center of the clearing sat what had once been a squat little log cabin, not unlike Bjorn's own. The structure appeared long abandoned. Vines blanketed the walls, the stone chimney was collapsed and smokeless, and the shutters hung limply. "We should look inside," said Bjorn. "Why? The last thing we need is anyone seeing us." "I doubt there's anyone around to see us." But even so, Bjorn hesitated to urge Godfrey forward. The glade held a strange, still air, as though preserved from a dream, an unexpected oasis, obscenely far from civilization. Who had lived here? Why? "We'll camp here the night. It'll be good to sleep with walls around us for once." Bjorn tethered Godfrey in the remains of the barn, stripping him of his saddle and bags, before heading for the farmhouse. Bjorn pushed the door open with the pommel of his axe, hinges wailing like banshees. The entryway opened onto the first and largest room. 2 doors stood ajar in either far corner, leading to other smaller rooms. The air was thick with dust, cobwebs, and decay. Morrigan gasped when she saw the first corpse. It was little more than a withered skeleton, skin clinging tightly to its frame. The remains of clothes hung in tatters, moth-eaten and decomposing. What was most shocking, however, was that the corpse was pinned to the far wall by a pitchfork through its chest. "What do you think happened to him?" "Likely the same thing that happened to her." Seated at a table in the room's corner was another corpse. Her long hair was the color of straw. Empty sockets stared out of her skull. A rust-colored stain spread across the floorboards beneath her. "What's that in her hands?" Morrigan crept closer to the body. Clutched in her leathery hands was an equally leathery tome. The covers of the book were filled with uneven and rough-edged pages. Morrigan gingerly pried the book from between skeletal fingers. Pages parted in a cloud of dust, and she began to read. "It is the first day of summer. The days are long and hot. Edric spends them in the woods hunting. I spend them locked in my room. My flux is 3 weeks late. I fear what that means. I fear to tell him. Would it change the way he treats me? Would it stay his hand or increase the fury of his fists? Would it stop him stumbling to our bed, reeking of beer? Would I be less tempting to his ravenous desires? It has been months since Edric brought me here, since my father sold me to him. But that's what it was in truth, a sale, more than a match. Father parted the exchange richer 1 dairy cow, 6 hens, and a pouch full of grain. Edric parted richer 1 fertile young bride. "You should feel lucky," Father told me before I left. "Edric is a rich man. King Edward has granted him a parcel of land just south of Gaius's wall to settle. You will help him clear this land and reap its rewards. It is a better life than you could ever have hoped for with us." But all I could think of was the widower 20 years my senior, who I had never before met, who I was expected to wed, bed, and produce heirs for. We departed last home to the waving hands of our neighbors, and their whispers. We had all heard them before. "There goes another wife. Will this one meet the same fate? Will she bear him sons or die upon his fists like the last?" Father didn't come to see us off. I wasn't his daughter anymore. I was Edric's wife. Morrigan paused, looking up from the book. "It's her journal." She flicked through the pages. She wrote near daily. "Likely her only escape," said Bjorn, casting an eye over the skewered corpse on the wall. "I've changed my mind. I have no taste to stay here among these ghosts." The sky cracked and split asunder. Rain hammered the ground deafeningly. "I don't think we have much of a choice," Morrigan observed. The pair sat around a small fire in the center of the room. The hearth was beyond use. The chimney crumbled. Rain had settled into a steady thumping atop the thatch. Bjorn had done what he could to fix the shutters closed, but the room still suffered from a chilling draft. Morrigan sat crossed-legged on the floorboards, the journal balanced atop her knees, thumbing through its pages, reading aloud. I can no longer hide my pregnancy. My stomach has swelled too much to escape Edric's notice. He appeared happy when I told him, though more so for what it meant for the land than our family. More hands to tend the farm, he declared. It hasn't stopped his desire, nor has it tempered his anger. He uses his fists as freely as before, though always away from my womb now. I fear what life this child will have. I fear the fate of a daughter with Edric as her father. I fear what would become of a son, whose only role model is a drunkard and batterer. But, shamefully, I fear for myself most of all. What will become of me now that he knows I can bear his seed? How many farm hands will he force me to produce? Is this what my life is to be? A broodmare? I wanted to be a dancer. Morrigan trailed off, pinching the pages between her fingers. This ink is old by the time she died. She'd been here for years, with that man. Edric's corpse stared down at them from the wall. Why didn't she leave? Asked Bjorn. If she was so miserable, so tormented, why not flee? Morrigan scoffed. To where? With what supplies? Bjorn shrugged. I don't know, but surely it would be better for her to take her chances than continue to endure. Morrigan's eyes grew hooded, descending into memories. In our travels, my mistress and I stitched up many a wife who'd tried to flee her husband. Each one told us they thought he would kill them. I'd never seen him in such a rage, they would say. They feared losing their wives. They feared losing their control. Men canny stand anything outside their control. Part of why they fear witches so. These are women who are isolated from the world around them. Look at this farm, as far from civilization as you can get without stepping through the veil of death. Then there are the weans to think of. Do these fleeing wives take their babes with them, or leave them behind? Each choice comes with its own risks. Often the only place a mother can ensure her child's safety is by their side, despite the risk it puts her in. Morrigan returned her gaze to the journal. I have given Edric a daughter. The whole ordeal was terrifying. He would not send for a physician, and he refused to return to Lastholm so my sisters could midwife for me. He insisted on delivering the babe himself. When I questioned if he knew what he was doing, he caught me with that look he gets before he raises his fist. I've delivered calves before, he informed me, as though 'twere the same. I dared not argue further. The pain was unending, the feeling of my insides tearing themselves apart. I tore from front to rear, and the blood was unending. But finally, Edric drew forth our perfect baby girl and placed her in my arms. When I asked if he was pleased, he grunted, 2 arms, 2 legs, all a farmhand needs. The recovery has been the hardest. Edric made an attempt at stitching me. Somehow it felt more humiliating, him staring at my secret place so closely, candle held to light his work, than when he stumbles into bed, bearing down atop me. The stitches were not neat, and the bleeding has not ceased completely, yet Edric demands we continue the work. Fields need clearing if we are to plant crops before the season is out, so I must continue to labor in the field as well as the birthing bed. The only joy to my day is our little Emma. I wear her strapped to my chest as we work, so I may sniff the crest of her head. Let it be worth it. For her. Morrigan was looking around. Bjorn knew what she was looking for. Don't, he told her. Don't what? Just don't. They sat in silence, the fire crackling between them. Bjorn was holding a stick of dried beef, but could not bring himself to eat. It looked far too close to the gaunt, dried skin pulled across the corpse's frames. He threw it down in a huff. Read on. Morrigan flicked through the pages to the end of the journal, desperate to know how the story ended. She stopped at a page towards the end of the book. This is the last entry. Judging from the dates, it's 8 years after she birthed the girl. The ink is red. She brought the book to her nose and sniffed, then cast her eyes to the red-brown stain beneath the woman's feet. It's not ink. In your own time. Morrigan took a breath. Edric is dead. I killed him. I came inside from my chores and found him seated at the table. My journal was before him. I felt my whole body go cold in that moment. I don't know how he found it. I've always kept it hidden. In the barn, under the floorboards, in the rafters, always moving it so he'd never find it. But he had, and he'd read it. He didn't yell. He didn't scream. That scared me the most. He asked me why I'd written such lies. Something about having the book out in the open, my secrets laid bare. It made me brave. I told him these were no lies. These were the actions of a cowardly, small, insignificant man, too weak, too pitiful to be anything else. These were the accounts of the hell he'd put me through, and I told him I wouldn't take it any longer. I told him I was leaving, that I was taking Emma with me, that we were fleeing to God knows where and he would never find us again, and that the next time I saw him would be with me on the banks of the River of Penance, and he in its icy water. I told him I would wait for him to reach up a hand, begging me for help as those icy daggers cut his sallow flesh to ribbons, and I would push his head down with my boot until the bubbles stopped. I waited for him to yell. I waited for him to hit me, but he simply stood. "You are free to leave," he told me, "but you will never see Emma again." He was at her door before I realized what he'd said, locking it behind him. I heard her scream, and I pounded my fists bloody, trying to open that damn door. I ran outside and grabbed the pitchfork, thinking to leverage the door off its hinges. But when I returned, the door was open. I can't write what I saw. I can't... Edric came up behind me, foul breath in my ear. "Don't worry," he said, hands on my shoulders. "We can always make more. I care not if I spend the rest of eternity floating down the river for what I did next. I should have done it years ago." I drove that pitchfork through his belly and skewered him to the wall. I stared into his eyes as he died, and I said her name, for Emma. Now I sit alone at our table, the remnants of my life around me. Everything is getting darker, the lights are going out, I have run out of ink, but I have blood aplenty. It is currently pooling beneath me from the wounds I have cut upon mine wrists. Soon I will be with you, Emma. Soon. Mummy is coming. The words died on Morrigan's lips. With tender grace, she closed the journal, fingers tracing the cracks in the leather. Bjorn stood, walking to the door in the far corner of the room. It creaked open under his palm. A simple room, a wooden wardrobe in the corner, a shallow basin for washing, a lone straw mattress, and upon it. Slowly, Bjorn shut the door and returned to the fire. "Why?" he swore through gritted teeth. "Why, fathers? Why must they all be so?" "Monstrous," Morrigan offered. She made no attempt to ask about the room's contents. Bjorn gave a slow nod. Do they not realize what they have to lose? How grateful they should be. Bjorn could not take his eyes off the fire. The heat was making them water. He told himself it was the heat, nothing else. The shuffle of skirts signaled Morrigan's move to Bjorn's side. A tender hand came to rest atop his own, curled tightly into a fist he hadn't realized he'd been making. "I know it's no consolation, Bjorn, but your daughter... She was spared the pain of growing to womanhood in this accursed world. I could have protected her." He paused. "I should have. Why is the world like this? Some men wish to see all women treated so brutishly, whether they be kin or witch. I was a soldier," Bjorn stammered. "I saw death. I saw violence. But that was war. All of this, it's just so senseless." Was he referring to the dead family in this farmhouse? The gibbets and crucifixes along the roadside? The women executed in the town square, the corpses hanging from the message tree? "Violence is violence," Morrigan muttered. "It never makes any sense." They fell asleep to the thunderous pummel of rain. Bjorn's sleep was as tormented as ever, phantom pains torturing his soul, grief, regret, sorrow, shame, each taking equal turns. "Save her, Bjorn." He woke in the early hours of the morning. The rain had ebbed to a light sprinkle. Morrigan slept soundly on the other side of the cold fire. Careful to not wake her, Bjorn set to work. Morrigan awoke several hours later, sunlight dispelling the remaining storm clouds and cutting through the broken shutters. She found Bjorn outside, shoveling the remaining soil onto the two graves. "You didn't need to do that," she told him. "No, I did." Bjorn buried the blade of the shovel in the earth and turned back to the farmhouse. "Come. The day has begun, and we still have a long way to go." Morrigan nodded. As they collected their belongings inside, Morrigan slid the leather-bound journal into her satchel. "You're taking that?" Bjorn asked. "Aye, this is her story. She deserves to see it endures. Perhaps I'll use the blackthorn ink I've brewed to make some copies. People deserve to have their stories told." They set off atop Godfrey's back, strutting past the two fresh graves for mother and daughter. They turned east and continued on their journey, leaving the farmhouse behind, Edric's corpse still nailed to the wall. Story 2. Nailed. Spring began is so beautiful, cool, flowers blooming and the air smells sweet and fresh. School is good, my grades are okay, math is a pain. And I'm in love. We met at Christmas break. His name is Hector. He's adorable, and I'm the center of his life. We're so in love. His touch sends chills up my arms, and his hugs warm me all over. We went to the beach. LOL. It was cold, but we huddled together under his blanket and talked about our future together and marriage. Yes, soon we'll be married, but we haven't told anyone because Mama wants me to finish college. She's always worrying about me. I will, Mama, I will. Hector wants me to finish school as well. Says it's important because we're immigrants. Isn't this country descended from immigrants? He doesn't interfere with my school studies. He always encourages me, scolds me when I don't follow my plan. He even tells me he won't come over if I don't study. He's funny. I don't believe him. He couldn't stay away for even a night. Last night, he quizzed me for my citizenship test. I didn't miss a single question. I'm ready. Mama made me promise that I would finish it and become legal. I asked Hector when he would take his test. He isn't enrolled. Why? If you're a citizen, then can't deport you, can they? He said because we weren't born here, they'll find a way to deport you. Why? What have we done? He said we've done nothing. Absolutely nothing. That scares me. We came here for a fresh start. We pay taxes. We went to school to better ourselves, to do our part to better our new country. We follow the rules. Why? He told me that it is because our skin is brown. We're not white enough. Surely there are people out there who will help us. Stand up for us. Stop this madness. I begged him to at least enroll. He only laughed. Please, for me. Please, Hector. They won't do anything if you try to fit in. He laughed again. Then he hugged me and told me he loved me and left. Please, God, watch over my Hector. I know you won't let anything happen to him. There is beauty in the world. I see it. I know you will protect it. And me. I thought about Hector's comment about it being important for immigrants to get educated. How is it important? Why? Why is it so bad to be an immigrant? Didn't immigrants build this country? Why are they afraid of us? Is there some special test besides passing our citizenship test that we must complete to prove our worth? 6-3. I can't believe how busy I've been. Finals next week. Citizenship test on Saturday. Then I take the oath. I will finally be a citizen, safe from the gangs and police raids back home. What a beautiful life it will be with Hector. I can't wait to tell him. I haven't seen him since the night before last. Studying, I guess. I think about his words. I pray that he is wrong. Mama was acting weird today. She showed me a special closet, a hiding place behind the fridge that Papa built before he went back to Mexico. He cut it out of the back bedroom closet. I asked why. Why am I sitting in this narrow cage behind the wall? She looked hard at me. Times are not good for us anymore. You will understand when we aren't here. What does she mean, when we aren't here? We'll have our citizenship papers, no more green cards. We're legal. Doesn't that count? Everyone in this country are descendants of immigrants, unless their family tree includes indigenous natives. They wouldn't dare. Mama only shook her head. She said I was naive, too trusting. What do you have when you don't have trust? Nothing. We came here to get away from the bad life, but has it followed us here? God, where is Hector? 6-4. He's gone. They took him from school. They're sending him to Venezuela. He was brought here as a baby. His parents are from Guadalajara. He speaks English better than Spanish. He can't even read Spanish. What's he going to do? What am I going to do? What's happening? Hector, I need you. Mama, is that what that room is for? Are they going to take me? Why? 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 What have we done? Why do they hate us? It's so quiet. It's so too quiet. Mama's at work and Hector's gone. I'm in the hiding room Mama showed me. It's very small. I have to slide the fridge to the side a few inches and squeeze in. I then tied a rope to the back of the fridge and I pulled it through a hole in the fridge door. After closing the door, I used the rope to pull the fridge tightly against the door. Then I untied the rope and pulled it out through the hole and plugged the hole. It is very dark inside and I have to use my phone light to see and write. It's also very hot here. I don't know how anyone can live like this here. I have some water and snacks with me. I can't last more than a few days. Then what? I found a small notebook. Contacts for when I get out. When I get out? What a joke. Maybe it would be better to just give up. It's the same fate, here or there, dead or alive, barely. After midnight, Mama's usually home by now. God, what if they've taken her? The street is loaded with cops, noisy, sirens. The house is dark. I'm writing this under the light in my phone, on the floor, away from the windows. I hear a truck, voices, in front of the house. I got to hide. My head is pounding. I can't swallow. It feels like cotton is in my mouth. I need something to drink, water, but I can't move. They just crashed our front door. God! I hear many voices, calling my name, telling me they would be easier on me if I showed myself than if they have to look for me. So scared, feel sick. I almost threw up. My head is spinning. Please go away. God, make them go away. They're in the kitchen. My head, my stomach, 6'5". Morning, I think. What day I don't know, can't get out. 2 voices. Have to pee. Can't eat. Can't drunk. Might hear me. Why am I doing this? Just opened the fridge. Bastards. Stealing our food. A prisoner in my own house. This is so wrong. They're gone. So good to get out of there. But for how long? What happens when they come back? They'll be back. They got Mama. They know I'm here. They won't leave until they get me. I'm fair game because I haven't taken my test yet. It doesn't matter that I'm here legally. They want me because of my skin. It's too brown, too dark. It always comes down to skin color. I should just leave. But where will I go? Where will they take me? What will they do to me? A woman. Like Hector, here is all I know. Why? Why do they hate us so? Hector. My Hector. Baby, I miss you. I love you. Where are you? Help me. Their back found the hole in the door. One broke through the hole and shined a light in. Don't think he saw me. They don't talk. Hammering. The walls and door playing with me, torturing me, trying to scare me out. Come and get me. I won't give in to them now. Don't trust them. Hate them. God, the noise, the pounding, my head splitting. Gone, I got to get out. Give myself up. They nailed the door shut. Story 3. Frontier. Sunday, September 18th. I have buried my husband without a prayer. God is not listening. This place is beyond God's reach. It is equally futile to hope. The baby fights, but she is weak. The sweats will win, just as they did with my husband. She is too small to win this battle. I regret I didn't have time to name her. I regret I never asked my husband why. Why did he think this land could be tamed? Why did he bring me here, promising a good life? This place eats life. I regret the fever hasn't taken me too. Monday, September 19th, the baby has succumbed. Tuesday, September 20th. I dressed the baby in the white lace christening gown I made over months of close stitching and embroidery. At least it had more practical use in the end. During the day, there is much to keep me busy. The cow must be milked, the chickens fed, eggs collected. The pig and her piglets thrive. I tend to the garden and marvel at how the crops flourish despite the cloud of death that hangs overhead. I bake bread for tomorrow. I will take one of the horses and make the 2-day trip to our nearest neighbors. They are good people. Swedes, I think. The parents have little English, but the oldest children have a good enough understanding. I will let them know what has happened. Perhaps I will tell the Swede to take the farm for their oldest boy in exchange for help getting to the next outpost. Grief subsides now. I have a plan. It is important in these most adverse of circumstances to form a plan. My husband was weak in that respect. If nothing else has come out of this, I have learned to only trust my own keen instinct. Friday, September 23rd, I return to the farm today. I will not call it home because it has never been a home of mine. Less so now. The Swedes are dead. 7 children's corpses, oldest to youngest, laid out on the floor. I am sorry the parents did not go first. Their anguish still echoes through the house. They lie together, holding hands. I do not wish to write any more tonight. I do not wish to think. Monday, September 26th. I have brought back what provisions I could carry from the Swedes and any livestock that remained. A fence had been trampled and the horses were missing, but the stupidest of the chickens, a cow and calf and a servile cart horse, waited patiently for their owners to be revived. The dog was more cautious and stalked us over the journey and is now outside my door. It is more trusting now I have fed and watered it. I suppose we have formed an understanding. He lies outside, assuming a pose that suggests he is providing protection. Against what? The dog cannot fight the pox, the epidemic that has swept through. I will not resign myself to a life here. It is not so much a life as a lingering death. Trader Stan will come through again in a few weeks. His cycle is irregular, but I gather he frequently returns to this area to hawk his skins, dried meat and jerky to the settlers littering these plains. He will be able to guide me back to a civilized world. The traveling preacher may also pass through. I am less inclined to expect help from him. Every so often the dog lifts his head as the wind blows through, as if there is something out there to catch his attention. I have my husband's shotgun. I pillaged the Swedish woman's kitchen knives. I think the dog is mistaken. There is nothing out there. It is a world of nothing. The dog and I are at its epicenter. Wednesday, September 27th. The wind never ceases. During the day it whips up dust, leaves, feathers, and perhaps dead souls. The chickens are perturbed and cluck worriedly. The dull Alderney cow is oblivious. My other cow is jittery as the leaves fly about us while I try to milk her. She kicks out at shadows. The dog paces around us in anxious circles. I am inside the house now, and the light is poor as I write. Somehow the wind finds the cracks under the floorboards and the door, and the room is chilled cold. At night, wind raises its voice to a ceaseless howl. The dog lays its head in my lap and I cover its ears. I have named the dog, but I'm not sure the name will stick. He looks straight through me without any hint of self-recognition when I say his name. Zachariah. September 30th. Trader Stan is overdue. The wind's shriek has been joined by something else at night. Whispers. The whispers of the dead this land has claimed, I fancy. The dog whines unhappily. He sleeps on my bed now, although I don't think he sleeps any more than I do. The whispers hiss from outside October. Something bangs at the window as I write. Zach barks frantically. It stops for a short time, then starts again. I pace the room with the shotgun ready, then resign myself to the knowledge what is out there will not bleed. Outside the wind howls, the moon is full and bright. The washing I forgot to bring in dances in the bright moonlight, white shirts linking arms, whirling like dancers unable to stop. The whispers almost form a word. Alone, alone, alone. Trader Stan has not been through yet. Late October I rode to the highest point to see if there was any sign of life other than my own. The human world has been wiped away, like an unanswered sum on a blackboard. I watched as a flock of small birds took flight as a hawk circled in on them, picking off the weak. I felt I had witnessed a truth. I returned to the Swedes. I had considered moving there to escape the sounds that haunt the homestead. The wind did not follow me. Instead, I lay awake listening to the chattering gossip of girls working on embroidery. I smelled the aroma of baking from an oven that remained stone cold. Outside at dawn, there was the sound of boys shouting to one another as they undertook their chores. In the morning, as I saddled the horse, I thought I heard the sound of a violin. I followed the melody as Zachariah chewed at my sleeve, trying to pull me the other way. At the stream behind the house, a naked man stood in the water. He played notes I had never heard of before. It felt like crystals entering my brain. The sound pierced my good sense as I walked towards the musician. He smiled, long yellow teeth in a hideous grin. Yet still I was compelled to walk closer to the music. Zachariah howled, intertwining his canine lament with the notes, lassoing them and flinging them aside. I turned and ran back to the horse. When I looked back at the stream, there was nothing there but dappled sunlight, sprinkling diamonds on the water. I will not spend another night in this house. Another night. I took books from the Swedes, mainly children's books. Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales. Brothers Grimm. Not very comforting. I read a story to Zachariah, then paused to write in this journal. Zachariah wags his tail. I have lit the fire and the warmth seems to dull the sounds of the whispers that normally wrap around the house. The next story I read was about a king who feeds a flea to the size of a sheep, then promises the hand of his daughter to anyone who can guess where the pelt came from. He feeds the suitors flea stew. It seems like a poor trade, but I can relate. My father put my marriage contract together, and here I am. In the story, the princess is rescued by half-giants. They have miraculous skills. One creates a field full of razor blades. A crop of razor blades might be a prudent move. November or December. I find Zachariah bleeding and weak. He is in pain. His eyes tell me he wants an end from this. You and me both, puppy. I use the .22 rifle that belonged to the oldest Swedish boy. Before the light goes out, I see gratitude in the dog's eyes. Laughter, high-pitched giggling surrounds me after the deed. I shout to the wind, "God damn you!" Then I think, God who? The voices have taken form. They are thin, transparent wisps of creatures who travel in the wind. They see me too. They laugh at my predicament and sometimes mock me, imitating the whines of the dog that I miss so badly. I burn sage to hold them at bay, but they outnumber me. The whispering has changed. It's become a melody, a soprano, an alto, weaving harmonics. They sing to the accompaniment of a violin. They sing the same song over and over. Alone, alone, alone. Godless solitude. This is oblivion, the edge of nothing,